Welcome back, Crammers, to question 1. The pictogram shows information about a number of ice creams Sandeep sold on each of the 4 days last week. How many ice creams did Sandeep sell on Thursday? We can see that the key represents 4 squares as 20 ice creams. So we can simplify this. 20 divided by 4 is equal to 5. So that means that one little square is equal to 5 ice creams. Now, on Thursday, we can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can write 5 times 5 is 25 ice creams sold on Thursday. Sandeep sold 30 ice creams on Friday. Complete the pictogram to show the number of ice creams Sandeep sold on Friday. So we have 30 divided by the key, which is 20, which gives us 1.5. So we simply draw 1.5. On which day did the least number of ice creams sell? So we can see that it is Monday. Monday. Work out the total number of ice creams Sandeep sold last week. So since we found out that one little square is equal to 5, we simply count how many little squares there are. First off, we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and 34. So we have 34 times 5. And we can simplify this to, we have 34 times 5 gives us 170. 170 ice creams sold. Question 2. Write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. First, we can see that we have 4 figures here, so we can simplify all of these to 4 figures. Now that they're all formatted, we can see that 2.001 is the smallest. Then we have 2.07. Then we have 2.1. Then 2.12. And finally 2.19. Write down the value of 6 in the number 54.623. Since it's right after the decimal, this is tenths. Tenths. Write the number 3.4896 correct to 2 decimals. So if this is the second decimal, we look at the value after it, which is 9. And according to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 to 4 we round down, 5 to 9 we round up. Since it's 9, that means we round this value up. So instead, we have 3.49. Write 0.6 as a percentage, and percentage is to 100, so we simply multiply this by 100, so we can move the decimal to the right 2 times. 1, 2, and we have 60%. Question 3, simplify 4x plus 5x minus 2x. Since they all have the same variable, we can then combine the coefficients, so we just have 4 plus 5 minus 2 times x. 4 plus 5, that's 9. 9 minus 2, that's 7. So we have 7x. Simplify 4p times 7. So we simplify as 4 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. And we multiply this with p. So we end up with 28p. Question 4. Change 5.48 meters into centimeters. 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. So we simply multiply 5.48 times 100. Now we can bring the decimal to the right twice, 1, 2, and that simply gives us 548 centimeters. Change 4,600 milliliters into liters. So we know that 1,000 milliliters is equivalent to 1 liter. So we can divide this value, 4,600, divided by 1,000. So we bring the decimal to the left 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and we get 4.6 liters. Here is an isosceles triangle ABC. AC is given as 5 centimeters. The perimeter of the triangle is 32 centimeters. Work out the length of AB. Now, we can see from these lines that these two sides are equal. So that means this is an isosceles triangle. If we subtract 32 minus 5, now we have the length of both AB and BC. But since we only want to find AB, we divide this by 2. So 32 minus 5 is 27. 27 divided by 2 is 13.5. Question 5. Adisha plays basketball for her school. Here is the number of points that she scored in each of the 9 games. Find the mode of the numbers of points that Adisha scored. Mode is most common value. So we can see 15 is repeated 1, 2, 3 times. So we can put 15 3 times. 16 is only repeated once. So we can put 16 as once. 18 is repeated twice. So we can put that here as twice. 17, 13, and 19 are all ones. 17, 13, and 19 are all ones. We can see that the highest is 15, so we simply write here is 15. Work out the range of the numbers of points Adisha scored. Range is simply largest minus smallest. So the largest value here we have is 19, and the smallest value we have is 13. So 19 minus 13 gives us 6. Question 6. Here's the first 4 terms of a number sequence. Write down the next term in the sequence. The difference between 8 and 4 is plus 4. The difference between 8 and 12 is plus 4. The difference between 12 and 16 is plus 4. So we can assume that the next value is 16 plus 4, which gives us 20. Explain how you found the answer to part A. We add 4. Find an expression in terms of n, the nth term of the sequence. To find the nth term, we simply subtract the difference. So here we have plus 4 again. And we simply subtract 4 from 4, so we get 4n plus 0. Because 4n, the n is the nth term of the sequence, so every time we multiply it, we receive the next value. For example, 4 times 2, the second number in the sequence, gives us 8. Now, since it's plus 0, we don't have to write the 0. We can just write 4n. Question 7. Caramel is working out the cost of her mobile phone in March. Here is the information she uses. Work out the total cost that Caramel has to pay for using her phone in March. So to work out the total cost, we can see that we have a monthly charge, we have calls, and we have texts. Now we can find each of these values. For monthly calls, monthly charge, it's already given as 20.75. For calls, it's $0.10 per minute, but it also says that the first 400 minutes are free. So we can subtract 400 from 465 minus 400 gives us 65. Now, for calls, we have 65 times $0.10 per minute, $0.10 per minute. So that means we can actually bring this and we get $6.5 in total for calls. For texts, we have $0.05 each message, but the first 1,500 messages are free. So we have 740 minus 1500. That gives us 240. So that means we have 240 times 0.05. And we can use our calculator here. We have 240 times 0.05 gives us 12. Equals 12. And now that we have all the values, we can combine them. The total cost for monthly charge is 20.75 plus calls, which is 6.5 plus texts, which is 12. We can then put this into a calculator to find our answer. We have 20.75 plus 6.5 plus 12, which gives us 39.25. 39.25. 39.25. Crammers, here is a rhombus. Work out the value for x. Give a reason for your answers. We can see that this is given as 122 degrees and that this line is parallel to this line, which means we can continue this line, and that means that this is also 122 degrees. And since this straight line is made up of 122 and x, we know that a straight line is 180 degrees. So we can simply write this as 180 is equal to 122 plus x. We can bring 122 to the other side. We have 180 minus 122 is equal to x. We can then use our calculator here. We have 180 minus 122 gives us 58 degrees. Question 9. The diagram shows a cuboid. Work out the volume of the cuboid. Volume is length times width times height. And since all of these are in the same format, we can go ahead and multiply. So here we have 12 times 6 times 9 gives us 648. 12 times 6 times 9 is equal to 648. 648 centimeters cubed. Question 10. Give 25 as a fraction of 145. Give your fraction in its simplest form. So we have 25 over 145. I can see that they're both divisible by 5, so I can cancel out here. 25 divided by 5 gives us 5. 145 divided by 5 gives us 29. And since we can't simplify any further, our simplest fraction is 5 over 29. Work out 9 as a percentage of 25. So we simply have 9 divided by 25. And since it says percentage, we have to multiply by 100. 100 divided by 25 cancels out. So we have 4 here. And we have 9 times 4, which gives us 36%. The cost of 16 sandwiches of the same type is 28 euros. Work out the cost of 27 of these sandwiches. So we can see here that 28 euros is equivalent to 16 sandwiches. And we can see that we don't know what's the cost of 27 sandwiches, but we know that it is 27. We can multiply both sides by 27 using the similarity rule. And we can find out what our answer is using a calculator. We have 28 divided by 16, which is then multiplied by 27, which gives us 47.25. X is equal to 47.25, 47.25 euros. To question 11, ABC is a triangle where AB is 9 centimeters, AC is 5 centimeters, and BC is 8 centimeters. Using a ruler and compasses to construct triangle ABC and AB as its base, you must show all your construction lines. The line AB has been drawn for you. So first, set your protractor to BC, which will be 8 centimeters. Starting at point B, we simply draw an arc which is 8 centimeters. Then we repeat the process. Set your protractor to AC, which is 5 centimeters, and simply draw an arc. The point at which they intersect is the final point, so we simply connect these with a line, and we connect this, and we leave the construction lines as is. Question 12. T is equal to 6p minus 4d. Work out the value of t when p is equal to 8 and d is equal to 3, so we can substitute. T is equal to 6p, which is 8, minus 4d, which is 3. So we have t is equal to 6 times 8, that is 48, minus 4 times 3, so that's 12. So t is equal to 48 minus 12, which is 36. T is again equal to 6p minus 4d. Work out the value of p when t is equal to negative 41 and d is equal to 5. We can rearrange this by bringing 4d to the other side. So we have 6p is equal to t plus 4d. And we can divide both sides by 6 to isolate p. And now we can input our values into this equation. We have p is equal to t, so that's negative 41, plus 4 times d, which is 5, which is then divided by 6. P is equal to negative 41 plus 4 times 5, that's 20, divided by 6. P is equal to negative 41 plus 20 is negative 21, and we divide this by 6. We can use our calculator here. We have negative 20, negative 21 divided by 6 gives us negative 3.5, negative 3.5. Solve for x minus 3 is equal to 7x plus 15. Firstly, we can multiply the polynomial. So we have 4x minus 4 times 3, which is 12, which is equal to 7x plus 15. Now we can bring 7x here and we can bring 12 here. So we have 7x, negative 7x plus 4x is equal to 15 plus 12. So negative 7x plus 4x is negative 3x is equal to 15 plus 12, which is 27. We can divide both sides by negative 3, divide by negative 3, and x is equal to negative 9. Question 13. Trains leave Agra station to go to New Delhi every 40 minutes, and trains leave Agra station to go to Mumbai every 48 minutes. At 6 a.m., a train leaves Agra station to go to New Delhi, and at the same time, a train leaves Agra station to go to Mumbai. Work out the next time a train leaves Agra station to go to New Delhi, and at the same time, a train leaves Agra station to go to Mumbai. So every single time a train leaves Agra station to go to New Delhi, it is 8 minutes earlier than the train that goes to Mumbai. So eventually, there will be a time when both trains arrive and leave at the station together. First off, we can find the multiples of 40. So we have 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, and 240. Then we can find the multiples of 48. So we have 48, we have 96, 144, 192, and 240. Notice how both of them have the same multiple of 240. So that means that this is our time that they both arrive and leave at the station together. However, we have to give the time that she leaves. So if it is 6 a.m. and it's an additional 240 minutes, that means it is 240 minutes divided by 60, because 60 minutes is equivalent to 1 hour. And 240 divided by 60 is 24 divided by 6, which is just 4 hours. So 6 a.m. plus 4 hours gives us 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is when both trains leave the station at the same time. Question 14. On the grid below, draw the graph of y is equal to 1 minus 3x for the values of x from negative 2 to 3. So first off, we can draw a table here to list all the values. So we have x and y, and we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Now, if we input the value of x into this equation, we will receive what y is. So y is equal to 1 minus 3 times, the first value is negative 2. And then we have 1, negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. So we get 7. 7. Moving on, we have negative 3 times negative 1 gives us positive 3. So we get 4. 4. Moving on, we have 0. 3 times 0 is just 0. So we get 1 plus 0, and that's 1. Now we have 1. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 1, negative 3. So we get 1 minus 3 is negative 2. And then moving on, we have 2. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. And finally, we have negative 3 times 3 gives us negative 9. So 1 minus 9 is negative 8. And now that we have all these values, we can then plot them on the graph. So first off, on the x-axis, we start at negative 2 and we go all the way up to 7. And we put a cross there. Next up, we have negative 1, which goes all the way up to 4. We put a cross there. At 0, we go up to 1. We put a cross there. And then at 1, we go to negative 2. So we put a cross there. And at 2, we go to negative 5. Put a cross there. And at 3, we go to negative 8. And we put a cross there. And finally, using a ruler, we draw a straight line through all these crosses. Question 15. A few subsets are given. Complete the Venn diagram for this information. First off, we have to write the intersection first as always. The intersection is what's common between x and y. And we can see here that that's 12. And that seems to be just it. So we can put here 12. Now we can remove this. And we can simply write what is for x, which is 4 and 8 and 16 And then for y, we have 6 and 18. Now, we also have to write what's outside the subset. Now, we have 4, 8, 16, 12, 6, and 18. We can remove this from E. So we have 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, and 18. So we're left with 2, 10, and 14. Moving on, a number is chosen at random from E. Find the probability that the number is in the set X union Y. So X union Y means everything within the subset. And since there are only 9 possible values, we simply count how many are inside. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just 6 over 9. Question 16. Ravina leaves her home at 1:35 p.m. in her car. She drives 60 kilometers from her home to get to an appointment at the speed of 80 kilometers per hour. At what time does Ravina get to her appointment? First, we have to identify how long it takes. Then we can combine that with 1:35 p.m. So we can see here that 1 hour is to 80 kilometers. And using the similarity rule, we don't know how many hours it is. So let's write that as X. But we know that she goes 60 kilometers. We can multiply both sides by 60, multiply by 60 to isolate X, and we have 60 times 1, which is just 60, so we have 60 over 80. This cancels out, and we have 0.75. However, this is not the time. So we have to multiply this by 1 hour, or 60 minutes, and we get 45 minutes. Now we can combine this with the time she left. So 1:35 plus 45 minutes. This brings us to 2:20. 2:20. And we can see that it's at PM. So we can simply write PM. Write down the value of m given that 3 to the power 4 times 3 to the power 5 is equal to 3 to the power of m. Now when dealing with indices and they have the same base, which here is 3, we simply add the indices. So we have 3 to the power of 4 plus 5 is equal to 3 to the power of m. And since we only have to find m, we can only focus on this equation. So we have 4 plus 5 is equal to m. So 4 plus 5 is 9. Write down the value of n given that 5 cubed whole to the power of 7 is equal to 5 to the power of n. Now, powers inside the bracket are multiplied with the powers outside the bracket. So we have 5 to the power of 3 times 7 is equal to 5 to the power of n. Since we only have to find n, we focus on this equation. So we have 3 times 7 is equal to n, and 3 times 7 is 21. Find the value of p given that 7 to the power of 8 times 7 to the power of 2 divided by 7 to the power of p is equal to 7 to the power of 6. As said before, when we multiply, we add, but when we divide, we subtract. So we have 7 to the power of 8 times 7 to the power of 2, so that's plus 2, divided by 7 to the power of p, so that's negative p, is equal to 7 to the power of 6. Since we only have to find p, let's focus on this equation here. We have 8 plus 2 minus p is equal to 6. We can bring p to the other side and combine this. So we have 10 minus 6 is equal to p. So we finally have p is equal to 4. Question 18. Here are two rectangles, rectangle A and rectangle B. The area of rectangle B is twice the area of rectangle A. Work out the value of x, show you're working clearly. To find the area of a rectangle, it's length times width. But we also know that the area of B is equivalent to 2 times the area of A. If we can find the area of A and the area of B, we can then find out what x is. So first, let's find the area of A. Length times width, so that means it's 4 into 5 minus x. We have 4 times 5, that's 20. 4 times negative x, that's negative 4x. Moving on, we have area of B, which is 5 into 2x minus 1. So we have 5 times 2x, which is 10x, and 5 times negative 1, which is negative 5. Now we can input it into this equation. So we have area of B, which is just 10x minus 5, is equal to 2 times area of A, which is 20 minus 4x. We can simplify. We have 10x minus 5 is equal 2 times 20 is 40. And 2 times negative 4x is negative 8x. Now, we can bring 8x to this side and negative 5 to the other side. So that gives us 10x minus 8x is equal to 40 plus 5. This is plus 8. So we have 18x is equal to 45. We can divide both sides by 18 to cancel out x. And we can use our calculator here. We have 45 divided by 18 gives us 2.5. X is equivalent to 2.5. Question 19. The table gives information about the amounts of money in euro that 70 of Anjali's friends spent last night. One of Anjali's 70 friends is going to be chosen at random. Find the probability that this friend spent more than 24 euros last Saturday. So we have to find the range that is greater than 24. So we can see here that two different ranges fit our answer, since 32 is greater than 24, and since here the next integer after 24 is 25. So it's also saying that here that is spent more than 24 euros. So we can combine these two frequencies. We have 25 plus 6, that gives us 31. And since it's probability, we have to divide it by the total, and that's 70. So we have 31 divided by 70. Work out an estimate for the mean amount of money spent by Anjali's friends last Saturday. Give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So mean is total divided by quantity. So first off, we have to find out that how much money was spent in total. So to find this, we simply multiply the frequency with halfway point between money spent. So halfway between 0 and 8 is 4. So we multiply this with 4. We'll do the same with 14. So we have 14. Halfway between 8 and 16 is 12. So we do this so on and so forth. We have 19 times halfway between 16 and 24, which is 20. And we have 25 and halfway between 24 and 32, which is 28. So 25 times 28. And finally, we have 6 times halfway between 32 and 40 is 36. Then we divide this by how many people there are. And since there are 70 people, we divide this by 70. So we can find this out using our calculator. We have 6 times 4 plus 14 times 12 plus 19 times 20 plus 25 times 28 plus 6 times 36, which is then divided by 70. This gives us 21.257. 21.257, and we have to round to 2 decimal places. So the value after the second decimal place is 7. And since we follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 to 4 we round down, 5 to 9 we round up, and since the 7 we round up. So we have 21.26 euros spent on average. Question 20. ABC and DEF are similar triangles. Work out the value of AB. Using the similarity rule, we can see that AB is similar to DE, which is 36. So we have AB, and we have to divide it by another side that's in the same triangle. So here we have AC, which is 45, is equal to DE, which is 36, and we have to divide it by the same side. So if this is the base here, we have to divide it by the base here. So that's 20. We can isolate AB by multiplying both sides by 45 times 45. And we can find out what AB is using our calculator. So here we have 36 divided by 20 centimeters. Okay. Then we multiply by 45. So we have 81 centimeters is equal to 81 centimeters. Given that BC is 54 centimeters, so here is 54. Work out the length of EF. We can use the exact same formula as before. We can see that EF divided by the base, which is 20, must be equivalent to BC, which is 54 divided by its base, which is 45. Again, we multiply both sides by 20 to isolate EF, and this cancels out. So we have EF we can find using our calculator. It is 54 divided by 45 times 20, which gives us 24 centimeters is equal to 24 centimeters. Question 21. The diagram shows a regular octagon and a pentagon. Angle GHD is equal to angle FGH. Work out the size of the angle marked as X. Show you're working clearly. So first off, we can find this angle and this angle. And since a whole circle is equal to 360 degrees, if we subtract this angle and this angle, we'll find what X is. So first off, let's find angle GHD. Now, we can see that a pentagon is given here and some of the angles are given. So we can use the formula 180 times n minus 2. Because it's to find the sum of all the angles inside a given polygon. Since this is a pentagon, we can see that it has 5 sides and n is the number of sides. So we can see that this is 180 times 5 minus 2, or 180 times 3. We can put this into our calculator. We have 180 times 3 gives us 540. So this is 540 in total for the pentagon. Now we know that 540 is equivalent to 112, because it's given here, plus 102, plus 96, and we can see that angle DHG and angle HGF are equal. So that means we can just replace them by y. So we can write here plus 2y. We can combine these values to simplify using our calculator. We have 112 plus 102 plus 96 gives us 310. 310 plus 2y is equal to 540. We can then bring this to the other side. So we have 540 minus 310 divided by 2. This will give us y. So we can find this out using our calculator. We have 540 minus 310 divided by 2. So that means it is 115. 115. So that means that this angle right here is 115 degrees. So now that we have that one angle, we can then look for this angle. Now we can see that this is a regular octagon. So we can use the formula again. 180 times n minus 2. We replace n with 8 since it's an octagon. And this gives us the sum of all angles. But we only want to find one angle. And since there are 8 angles, we divide it by 8. So that gives us 180 times 6 divided by 8. And we can find this using our calculator. 180 times 6 divided by 8 gives us 135. 135. And since each angle here is equal, that means that this is 135. Since we know that a whole circle is 360, we can write here 360 is equal to 135 plus 115 plus x. We can combine these, so we have 135 plus 115 gives us 250. So we have 250 plus x is equal to 360. We can bring this to the other side, and we have 360 minus 250 is equal to x. So we can use our calculator one last time. We have 360 minus 250 gives us 110 degrees. So x is 110 degrees. Question 22. Victor buys 12 bottles of apple juice for a total cost of $21. He sells all 12 bottles at 2.45 per bottle. Work out Victor's percentage profit. To find the percentage increase, it's new minus old divided by old times 100. Now, for the new value, the value that he sells it at It's 12 times 2.45. We can find this out using our calculator. We have 12 times 2.45 gives us 29.4. So he sells it at $29.4. The old value is the value he bought it at, and this is already given as 21. Now that we have everything we need, we can input it into the formula. We have the new value, which is 29.4, minus the old value, which is 21, divided by the old value, which is 21, and we multiply by 100. We can then put this into our calculator. We have 29.4 minus 21 divided by 21 times 100 gives us 40%. 40%. Question 23. Alia and Badia have $25,000 to invest each. Alia invests into Cyclone Bank for 3 years and Badia invests into Tornado Bank for 3 years. By the end of 3 years, Ali will have received more than Badia. How much more? Show you're working clearly and give your answer correct to the nearest dollar. First off, to find the difference between the two, we will have to find the total of the Cyclone Bank, and we have to subtract that from the total of the Tornado Bank. Now, for the Cyclone Bank, we can find this to be using the formula A is equal to P into 1 plus R over 100 to the power of NT. A is the total amount you'll receive at the end. P is the initial amount you give in, or the principal amount, which is 25,000. 1 plus interest rate, which is given as 4.5 divided by 100. And N is the number times the invest per year, so this is only once. And T is the number of years, so that's 3. We can simplify this to 2,500 into 1 plus 4.5, so we can simply bring this to the left twice. So we have 1.045 to the power of 1 times 3. We can simply write that as 3. We can then put this into a calculator to get our answer. We have 25,000 times 1.045 to the power of 3. And we get 28529.15. 28529.15. Moving on, we can find what Tornado Bank is. Tornado Bank. We can see that he invests $25,000 and he receives $1,150 interest per year for 3 years. So we add 1,150 times 3. Now we can find this out using our calculator once again. We have 25,000 plus 1,150 times 3, which gives us 28,450. 28,450. And now that we have both of these values, we can subtract CB from TB, or Cyclone Bank from Tornado Bank. So we have finally 28529.15 minus 28450. We can find this to be 28529.15 minus 28450, which is 79.15 is equal to 79.15, and round to the nearest dollar, and the value after that is 1, and we follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 to 4 we round down, 5 to 9 we round up, and since this is 1 we round down, so we have $79. Question 24. Simplify 3 times x squared times y to the power of 0. Any positive integer, no matter how big, to the power of 0 will always equal 1. Factorize x squared minus 5x minus 36. So to do this, we have to find the coefficient of x and multiply this with the constant. So we have 1 times negative 36, that gives us negative 36. And what we are trying to do is find two values that when we multiply equal negative 36, But when we combine, we get negative 5. So here, for negative 36, I know that negative 9 times 4 is negative 36, but negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. So these are our values. We can write this as x squared minus 9x plus 4x minus 36. And notice how negative 9x plus 4x is still equal to negative 5x. We can then factorize, so we have x squared minus 9x, that's x into x minus 9, and we can write here x minus 9, so negative 36 divided by negative 9 is positive 4. So now we can combine these, so we have x plus 4, and we have this, which is x minus 9. So we have x plus 4 and x minus 9. And if we multiply out these brackets, we simply get this equation. Hence, solve x squared minus 5x negative 36 is equal to 0. So we simply equate each of these to 0. So we have x plus 4 is equal to 0. We bring this to the other side. X is equal to negative 4. We have x minus 9 is equal to 0. We bring this to the other side. X is equal to 9. So we can write here x is equal to negative 4. X is equal to 9. Question 25. A rainwater tank contains 2.4 times 10 to the power 7 raindrops. The rainwater tank also contains 1.75 times 10 to the power 6 bacteria. Work out the number of bacteria per raindrop, giving your answer in standard form and correct the two significant figures. First off, if it's bacteria to raindrop, we write bacteria first, so 1.75 times 10 to the power of 6 divided by the tank, which is 2.4 times 10 to the power of 7. We can actually simplify this by dividing this by 10 and then adding 1 here. This is to make them the same base, and they can actually cancel out. So you have 0.175 times 10 to the power 7 divided by 2.4 times 10 to the power 7, and 10 to the power 7 divided by 10 to the power 7 actually cancel out. So we simply have 0.175 divided by 2.4, which we can then put into our calculator. 0.175 divided by 2.4 gives us 0.07291. 0.07291. But this is not standard form. Standard form is any value between 1 and 9.99. So we actually have to multiply this by 10 twice, but it still has to equal our same answer. So if this goes to the right twice, that gives us 7.291 times 10 to the power of negative 2. The reason we're doing this is so it equals 0.07291. But now that it's in standard form, it's a lot easier to comprehend. And we give it to two significant figures. And since we follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 to 4 we round down, 5 to 9 we round up. Since the next value is 9, we round up. So we finally have 7.3. 7.3 times 10 to the power of negative 2. Question 26. ABC is an isosceles triangle with BA equal to BC. N is on the point on AC such that AN is 9.3 centimeters and BN is perpendicular to AC. That makes this a right angle triangle. Work out the perimeter of triangle ABC. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. First off, since there's a right angle here, I can see that directly opposite to that is our hypotenuse. And if a hypotenuse and angle are present, I can use SOHCAHTOA. Now, the angle is here and it's adjacent to 9.3. So we have to find something with both adjacent and hypotenuse. So it doesn't work, TOA doesn't work, we only have ka. So we put cos angle, which is 38, is equal to adjacent 9.3 and divided by hypotenuse. We don't know what hypotenuse is just yet. We can rearrange this by multiplying by h and dividing by cos 38. So we get h is equal to 9.3 divided by cos 38. We can then put this into a calculator to find our answer, which is 9.3 divided by cos 38, which gives us 11.8. 11.8. So now that we know that this is 11.8, and we know that this is an isosceles triangle, so that means that this side is equal to this side. That means this is also 11.8, and that means that n to c is also 9.3. So then we can combine all of this together, so we get the perimeter as 11.8 plus 11.8 plus 9.3 plus 9.3. We can then put this into calculator to get our final answer, which is 11.8 plus 11.8 plus 9.3 plus 9.3 gives us 42.2 is equal to 42.2. And since this is already 3 significant figures, we can write this down as our final answer. Thanks for watching. Cram, then scram.